All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to open up by giving all the praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and preach the truth and truth and sincerity. Shalom to the hopefully elect. And this is the brother Amawan Ayash from the GMS Indianapolis camp, coming back at you with another quick lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And I'm going to entitle today's lesson, A Man Can Receive Nothing Except to Be Given Him from Heaven. And the title of this lesson is inspired directly from John the 3rd chapter, which last night before I went to bed, I was reading into the book of John. I was reading the 3rd chapter last night, and that verse stuck with me in verse 27, because one thing we understand when it comes to this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, when it comes to the truth, the ability to understand the mysteries of the kingdom and the ability to be able to understand the prophecies and to be able to go into the prophecies and break them down, right? That's not given unto everybody, man. Okay, it's only given to a select few, which the Lord, He's given, all right, His Holy Spirit, okay, to His elect, okay, and the men at that, because ultimately the Lord has given His men the ability to go into the prophecies, break down the scriptures, break down the mysteries, so on and so forth, and that comes directly from inspiration from the heavens by Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay, now I want to grab the book of let's open up here with the Wisdom of Solomon. I believe it's either the 6th or the 9th chapter, I can't remember. Let's go to chapter 9 and verse 17. It says, "And thy counsel who hath known," which the counsel that's being referred to here is what the counsel of the scriptures, right? The Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai's counsel, right? It says, "In thy counsel," it says, "In thy counsel who hath known, except thou give wisdom and send thy Holy Spirit from above." So the only way we're going to be able to receive and understand this counsel, which is the counsel of the scriptures, right, to be able to understand, right, what's written within the scriptures, ultimately we have to be blessed with the Holy Spirit from above. And ultimately we understand that this is a gift that's not given unto everybody, right? The ability to understand His word and understand the breakdown, so on and so forth. Because what the book of Romans, let's go there to the book of Romans chapter 11 and beginning in verse 7. It says, "What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded." So ultimately this truth, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is only given unto the elect of the nation of Israel. But as far as the rest of our people, which we hope to be of the elect, we're of the hopefully elect, okay, as the Lord has blessed us with the ability to be able to understand His word, but we don't know if we're of the elect yet. But the fact that we're able to understand this word and that we're able to go into the scriptures and break them down, guess what? That's a sign right there, man. Okay, because that ability isn't given to just anybody. Okay, but ultimately we hope to be of those who endure unto the very end. Okay, and it says what? But the rest were blinded, meaning what? The rest of our people, the 2/3. You see, so when it comes to the wicked of our people, the Lord has not opened up their mind to be able to understand the parables, the deep dark sayings, the breakdowns, right, so on and so forth. Because ultimately on this side, all right, they're not meant to be converted. Okay, let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 9. It says, "And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their mouth, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed." So ultimately, it's not meant for 2/3 of our people to be converted and to be healed on this side, man. See, the Lord has purpose, all right, to blind our 2/3 of His people. And we understand according to prophecy that, all right, when the Lord returns, and even leading up to the Lord's return, when all hell breaks loose and these plagues hit the earth in droves, two parts, all right, 2/3 of the nation of Israel are going to die off in the land of America. All right, 2/3 of Israelites here in America are going to die off. You see, and ultimately, they've been put in position to where the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Yahushai has blocked them off from being able to receive this understanding, all right, to being able to receive the word that they may be saved. Okay, Yahweh Shai said the same thing, and he actually reiterated what we just read in the book of Matthew, chapter 13, and I'll start at verse 10. It says, "And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables?" Which parables go into, deep, dark sayings or hidden meanings, right, spoken in code, right? It says, excuse me, verse 11, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking in the red letter. It says what? "He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given." And we understand the scriptures say, right, that the things written aforetime are written for our learning, that we through comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So ultimately, if we're able to understand this word, that means Yahweh Shai is supping or feasting with us, man. And that's spiritually supping, meaning what? Because we understand, according to Proverbs 9, right, that this truth, right, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is likened unto a feast. You see, and the food that we're eating, all right, is this word. Okay, it says, verse 12, it says, For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if the Lord has blessed you with this truth, with this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we are supposed to grow in this thing. So, hey, the Lord, he's going to continue to sup with us, reveal unto us more secrets, right? Increase our understanding. You see, and that's going to make us better teachers. It says what? "But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath." So ultimately, if you're not submitting to the teachings of Yahweh Shai, all right, to the doctrine of Yahweh Shai, which ultimately the men, a great millstone beginning with the apostles and elders have been blessed with that doctrine, the understanding of that doctrine. And if you don't submit to that doctrine, then ultimately what little understanding you do have, all right, the Lord, he's going to end up taking it away from you, man. Okay, verse 13, it says, "Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not, and hearing, they hear not, neither do they understand." So ultimately, the Lord, he never intended, okay, for all Israel to be able to receive the understanding of the word on this side, man. All right, that's only given to the elect. Okay, it says, verse 14, "And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Esaias, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand." And we just read this in Isaiah the 6th chapter, right? It says, "By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand." It says, "And seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive," because we understand now, all right, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has his servants, the prophets, out in the open, man, or in the highways and the byways, right, preaching his word openly to the house of Israel. You see, so a lot of our people, they see the men of the Lord on the streets, right? They see us teaching, but ultimately, the majority of our people can't understand, because at the end of the day, it was not given unto them by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to be able to understand. It says, verse 15, "For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them." You see, so ultimately, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai does not intend to unlock the minds, right, of 2/3 of our people in these last days. All right, they are set up to be destroyed on this side, man. Okay, verse 16, it says, "But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears for they hear." So ultimately, if we're able to understand what's being written about within the scriptures, man, if we're able to understand the breakdowns, then guess what, man? Hey, we are blessed, man. You see, because ultimately that means that what the Lord is dealing with us. And as far as the rest of our people who don't have this understanding, guess what, man? The Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is not concerned with them, man. Okay, so let's go from there back to the Apocrypha. We'll grab a couple scriptures in the Apocrypha. Let's go to 2nd Esdras, The 12th chapter, one of my favorites, and beginning of verse 36, it says, "Thou only has been meet to know this secret of the highest," which ultimately the angel of the Lord was speaking to Esdras back then, which the angel that the Lord sent to speak to Esdras, and show Esdras all those visions, was Archangel Uriel. You see, it says, "Therefore write all these things which thou hast seen in a book and hide them." You see, and there's that saying out there, hidden in plain sight. Now, how do you write something in a book, right, and at the same time you hide it? By writing it in code, by writing it in deep, dark sayings, by writing it in a way to where everybody can't receive it, man, or understand it. Okay, but ultimately that understanding is only given to the chosen, right? Verse 38, it says, "And teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend, and keep these secrets." Because ultimately, once again, as we read in Romans 11, guess what? The election hath obtained it, and what? The rest were blinded. So 2/3 of our people, man, they're going to be blinded all the way up into the destruction. And I'm not sure. I might have skipped over that in Isaiah 6. I don't think I read that verse. No, I didn't. Isaiah 6:11 says, "Then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate." So, amen. When the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai brings that destruction to America, hey, guess what, man? That's when Jake is going to realize that the men that the Lord has set up, right, has been right all this time, man, and that they were teaching the truth. All right, which is why what the scriptures say, "Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them." You see, so 2/3 of our people are going to be blinded all the way up into the destruction. You see, and that's just how the Lord has set it up. Okay, so let's go back to 2nd Esdras 12, and well, that was it. That's 12. Let's go here to the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach. Chapter 39 and verse 24. It says, "As his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked." So ultimately, the holy, or the ones whom the Lord has separated from the world, which ultimately that word holy goes in and separated, which who is the Lord separated? His elect. So ultimately, the ways of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai are plain unto the holy, or plain unto the elect. You see, concerning the scriptures, man, the elect, man, they're able to understand things, man. Like how certain things were done in the ancient world and things of that nature. And like it says, so are they stumbling blocks into the wicked. And I'll throw one example out there, the grape doctrine. Okay? All we do is go into the scriptures and show you how that certain situation was dealt with. But you still got a lot of camps out there who ultimately that doctrine is a stumbling block unto. And, they get emotional and things of that nature. And ultimately, they're unable to understand it. Okay? That's just one of the many things or examples, man. But certain things like that, guess what, man? The elect, man, they're able to understand it. And they don't have a problem with it, man. Okay, because that's just how things were done. Okay? So, let's go from there to the book of back in the book of Matthew, and let's go to chapter 16. And I'll start at verse 13. It says, "When Yahushua came to the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And they said, Some say thou art John the Baptist, some Elias, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets." Now, the reason why, all right, they answer Yahushua in this manner is because ultimately back then, our reincarnation was a known thing. All right, they understood reincarnation back then, which a reincarnation today, that's a stumbling block to a lot of our people, man. You see, so that's another example, right? Ultimately, the teaching of reincarnation is not given unto everybody to understand. You see, so it's the scriptures in general in which the Lord has not unlocked the minds of the 2/3 to be able to understand. Okay, and it says what? Verse 15, "He saith unto them, But whom say ye that I am? And here's the point in verse 17. It says, "And Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art the Hamashiach, or the anointed, the Son of the living God. And Yahushua answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar Jonah, For flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. So ultimately, it goes back to the title of this lesson, which is inspired by John, the 3rd chapter, meaning what? Saying what? A man can receive nothing except to be given him from heaven above. You see? So we understand that when it comes to being able to understand the scriptures, all right, this doctrine, all right, the breakdowns, ultimately that's given unto us from heaven above, man. All right, through the men, through the teachers that the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has set up before us. Okay, let me go to the book of Job, chapter 32. I believe it's chapter 32, and verse 8. It says, "But there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding." You see, so the inspiration of the Almighty is what gives understanding, which ultimately that is given unto us from heaven above. You see, now let's deal with that word inspiration. It's the Hebrew word nashama. It says breath, spirit. It says breath of the Most High, and we understand that what the breath of the Most High, according to Wisdom of Solomon, the 7th chapter, and starting at verse 24, it says, "For wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. For she is the breath of the power of the Most High." You see that? So wisdom is the breath of the power of the Most High. You see? And when you deal with that word inspire, all right, you break it down. In, meaning in. Spire goes back, I believe, to the Latin spirare, meaning breath. So the Lord putting that breath within us. In other words, the Lord giving us that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay, because that's what the breath is, right? Verse 25, "For she is the breath of the power of the Most High, and the pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. There can no defiled thing fall into her." You see, so wisdom itself is pure, you see, and it's given to those, right, like the scriptures say in Wisdom of Solomon, in chapter 1 and verse 4, it says, "For into a malicious soul, wisdom shall not enter." You see, so wisdom is not going to enter into a malicious soul. You see, so, hey, when it comes to the 2/3 of our people, all right, the wicked of our people, man, all right, that means what? That these are some malicious individuals, all right, which means what? Prone to do evil, all right, the wicked, right, ill will, so on and so forth. It says, "Nor dwell in the body that is subject to sin," which ultimately we understand that we're all, right, in this wicked flesh. All right, but the Lord has blessed us with this treasure, right, in earthen vessels, roughly paraphrasing. You see, the Lord, he has a chosen whom he has predestinated, okay, to be able to receive this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and change their ways, man. You see, so that's what separates the elect from the 2/3. All right, the elect, they're actually trying to do right by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and rehearse the righteous acts, you see. Whereas 2/3, man, they're not going to return to the Lord, man. It's not meant for 2/3 to return, okay? 2/3 have been blinded and set up to be destroyed, man. Okay, so let's read that again in Job chapter 32, verse 8. It says, "But there is a spirit in man," excuse me, "and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding." So ultimately, once again, the fact that we're able to receive and understand the scriptures, all right, guess what, man? That ability comes from above, from the heavens, all right, from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So let me get this in the book of Daniel, chapter 12. And jump straight to the point. Verse 2, it says, "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth," which dust is representative of confusion, which at a point in time we were all in a confused state, all right, until the Lord called us, all right, by us hearing his word. It says, "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life." That's the elect, because the elect, they're going to receive this word. They're going to wake up and receive this word and be delivered, right? It says, "And some to shame and everlasting contempt." And the wicked of our people, what's going to happen is ultimately they're going to die off, right? Zechariah 13:8, 2/3 shall be cut off in that land, the land being America. And guess what? The Israelites that die on this side due to the plagues and due to the nuclear destruction, they're going to come back through the loins of the elect men that make it on this side, and they're going to come back with their heads down, are ashamed, okay, because what they've done in this life, okay? Jumping down to Verse 10, it says, many shall be purified and made white and tried. It says, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand it. That goes for the wicked, Esau, Edom, so-called white man, as well as the wicked of our people. All right, it's not meant for them to understand, right? It says, but the wise shall understand, the wise being who? The elect, those whom the Lord has chosen to be able to receive this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You see? And once again, that ability comes from on high, from the heavens, from Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay? So I didn't plan on making this lesson too long. I pray this lesson was edifying and informative into the body. And once again, man can receive nothing unless it's given him from heaven above. And with that being said, I want to close out by giving all the praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Hakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and preach his truth and sincerity. Shalom to the Hofi elect. Lord, I'll see you in the next lesson. Until then, I say shalom.